Henry Cavill requested that he be asked to announce his Superman exit himself, rather than having it come from a studio or from James Gunn. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. When James Gunn and Peter Safran stepped into leadership, one of their earliest and toughest decisions was to recast Superman. The transition was not smooth, as Henry Cavill's sudden return announcement tangled with Gunn's plan for a fresh, younger take on the iconic hero. Yet, amid the painful parting, Gunn made it clear that the door isn't closed for Cavill's return to the DCU. James Gunn hasn't shied away from revealing one of the more awkward moments in recent superhero history, the heart-to-heart where he had to tell Henry Cavill that his time as Superman was coming to an end. "We sat down with Henry. It's terrible," Gunn admitted on the Happy Sad Confused podcast with Josh Horowitz. The day before Gunn and Peter Safran officially took the reins of DC Studios in October 2022, Warner Bros. Surprised everyone by announcing Cavill's return as Superman, a move that blindsided the new leadership and clashed with their vision of a younger Superman for the DC Universe reboot. Gunn described the announcement as really unfair to him, and it was a total bummer. To quote him, "The day our deal closed, all of a sudden they were announcing that Cavill was back. And I'm like, what is going on? We know what the plan is. The plan was to come in and do Superman. Yeah, so it was really unfair to him, and it was a total bummer." Despite the confusion, Cavill showed grace, asking only one thing: to reveal his own departure from the role rather than have it announced by the studio. Gunn recalled. He said, "The only thing I ask is that I'm able to reveal it myself, as opposed to it coming from you guys." And I'm like, he's a class actor. He has been from the start. The chaos that surrounded Henry Cavill's status wasn't born from James Gunn's team but from a power vacuum at Warner Bros. Discovery. Different factions pushed competing visions for DC's future, with Cavill's cameo in Black Adam serving as a flashpoint. There was a vacuum at the time, Gunn explained, trying to force their way, but it just was never part of the equation for David Zaslav, the company's CEO. In the same chat, he explicitly expressed a desire to cast Cavill in another character role. "I talked to him about it on that day. So yeah. No, I would love to put Henry in something." This opens exciting possibilities. From villains like Brainiac or Darkseid to Kryptonian cousins such as Nightwing, Van Zee, the potential roles are many and varied. This approach echoes the current DCU strategy, reimagining familiar faces in new lights, as with Jason Momoa's switch from Aquaman to Lobo in the Supergirl movie next year. So Peter and I, the right thing to do was to sit down with him and talk to him. And we sat down, we talked to him. He was an absolute gentleman, a great guy about it. This revelation clarifies the disconnect fans experienced. Despite Cavill's promising Instagram tease following Black Adam, the studio's internal direction had already shifted. Gunn's recounting underscores the challenges of managing beloved franchises amid corporate reshuffling and shifting creative visions. Gunn's openness to recasting him in a different role is a fresh breath of hope for fans who admired Cavill's portrayal. Is his Superman chapter truly closed, or is this simply the prologue to an exciting new role in the DC Universe? Could Cavill surprise us all as a villain or an unexpected hero? For DC fans and Hollywood watchers alike, the next move will be as compelling as the Man of Steel himself. Recognizing the messy state of affairs, Gunn and Safran decided honesty was the only way forward, sitting down with Cavill to explain the changes personally. Their respect for him shone through, as did their hope to keep him involved in some capacity. James Gunn's Superman might not defeat Man of Steel at the box office, but that is far from a doomsday scenario it might seem. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. Even before Superman debuted, there had been rumors of the movie needing to gross over $700 million to break even. While director James Gunn debunked the claim, the movie might ultimately fall short of that mark and even end its run below Man of Steel's collection. Superman was arguably one of the most anticipated movies of 2025, and the James Gunn-directed reboot had the burden of relaunching the DCU. While the movie initially soared with positive reviews and strong box office numbers, the dust is finally settling as a clear picture of its commercial performance emerges. When all is said and done, Superman, which sits at a $525.3 million gross, via the numbers, might not surpass Man of Steel's $668 million collection. To most, that might seem like a doom and gloom scenario. However, That is far from the case, as Superman offered plenty of positives and should not be judged simply by its box office numbers. Here is why Superman is losing to Man of Steel at the box office, and that is fine. The same is evident in the movie's international numbers, with the movie only making $223 million from overseas markets via the numbers. Gunn himself cited the anti-American sentiments as a reason for the movie performing below expectations overseas in an interview with Rolling Stone. However, one of the major factors in the movie's perceived box office underperformance is the titular character's American way. For better or worse, Superman is identified as a quintessentially American hero. As a result, the anti-American sentiments in the real world certainly impact the box office numbers. In contrast, Superman collected $8.8 million in China via the numbers, making up for only 3.95% of its international box office. Hence, it is safe to say that China's move away from Hollywood blockbusters hurt Superman's box office potential. The anti-American sentiments are perhaps most prevalent in China, which was a big market for Hollywood when Man of Steel was released in 2013. The Zack Snyder-directed movie earned roughly $63.4 million in China, making for a 16.7% share of the movie's international box office collection of $379.1 million via Box Office Mojo. In comparison to recent Marvel movies such as Captain America, Brave New World, 68%, and Thunderbolts*, 56%, Superman only dropped 54% during its second domestic weekend, significantly less than Man of Steel's 69% drop via Deadline. Hence, despite superhero fatigue, Superman held its own at the box office. A decade ago, the superhero genre was just entering its boom when Man of Steel debuted. Fast forward to 2025, and even the MCU is having its fair share of trouble at the box office. Only 2 of Marvel's last 6 releases, excluding the Fantastic Four, crossed the $700 million mark globally via the numbers. Gunn's own The Suicide Squad was greatly affected by the pandemic-stricken box office back in 2021, as it was released simultaneously on streaming and in theaters via Den of Geek. While that effect has slightly faded, it would still be unfair to discount the streaming factor when evaluating Superman's box office performance. Man of Steel was released when streaming was practically non-existent. In the post-COVID-19 era, streaming releases are announced even before movies arrive in theaters, which is affecting box office figures even if marginally. Despite this, when all is said and done, Superman might not soar above the Henry Cavill takes the DCU. However, Batman, the 2025
Superman,
reboot did restore mainstream faith in the DC brand and could give securing stellar reviews, characters, leading to an 84% critic score and 91%
if you're just joining us,
please
subscribe
and don't forget to turn
James
on
Gunn
notifications
flew into
for more
theaters
videos
on July
11, 2025, is an underrated
and
hero
had an opening
in
weekend
DC
of roughly
Comics.
$125 million
at the
he is
domestic
usually
box
seen
office
dressed in a suit
via the
that
numbers.
resembles rags.
In the
With
process,
some stories
it
depicting
surpassed
each
Man of
rag
Steel's
containing a soul.
$116 million
When Rory
opening
Reagan
weekend
failed to
figures.
save his father and